I'm undergoing some of the most rigorous safety training in the world.
Load up. Port ready.
Ditching port.
Training that can make all the difference between life and death if a helicopter ditches in the ocean.
Wow, that is terrifying stuff. And the reason that these guys do this helicopter evacuation training every 3 years is because of our thirst for oil.
I'm Josh Klein, technology consultant and innovation specialist, and I'm on a helicopter flying out to the Perdido oil rig in the Gulf of Mexico. One of the most hazardous working environments on Earth.
To meet the world's fuel needs, oil companies are drilling in more and more remote and dangerous locations. Located some 200 miles from land and in 8,000 feet of water, the Perdido Spar is the world's deepest offshore drilling and production platform.
That is some amazing engineering, because this is about as remote as it gets.
The Perdido is one of the most complex drilling projects in the history of the oil industry.
Pumping oil 24/7 in all kinds of weather at depths that would crush an ordinary submarine is an incredible challenge. But there's one special technology that a rig like the Perdido is entirely reliant on. A technology that's over 2,000 years in the making. Welcome to the link.
Understanding how everything around us came to be is like piecing together the ultimate puzzle. Because behind every invention, there's always a backstory, featuring brilliant minds, great civilizations, and extraordinary breakthroughs, all linking together to create the world we live in.
Our story of what makes the Perdido so high-tech begins over 2,000 years ago in ancient Italy, where a new material will lay the foundation for a magnificent city that will become the center of the Western world. I've come to Italy, to Mount Vesuvius, one of the most dangerous volcanoes in the world. It hasn't erupted since 1944, but it still represents an enormous threat to nearby cities, like Naples down there.
And the reason why this volcano is crucial to our story is because of what's inside.
So I'm gonna go into the volcano here and help Sandro collect some samples. Hopefully it'll stay this quiet. Watch out below.
Volcanologists, like Sandro De Vita, constantly monitor the volcano as part of an early warning system.
So you're basically seeing if it's gonna blow up?
Yeah. There is the possibility of a major eruption.
The composition of gas samples can reveal crucial clues about volcanic activity.
It's really hot and wet, but it doesn't really smell like anything.
Yes, this is because the composition is 90% water.
So it's just steam?
Yeah. This means that an eruption will not occur now.
Not today. Okay, good. Steam, good.
All appears quiet, for now.
But this volcano has erupted over 50 times since the most infamous eruption in history, when Mount Vesuvius literally buried the Roman city of Pompeii in 79 AD.
Thousands of people were killed when red-hot clouds of gas and fine ash flowed down the slopes of Vesuvius.
But there's a reason that the Romans chose to live in such a volcanically active and dangerous area. And that's because, despite the fact that volcanoes tend to destroy cities, they also emit something that's incredibly useful.
something that solved the age-old problem of how to bind stones together when building.
The Babylonians used bitumen, the Egyptians used gypsum, but it was the Romans that found the perfect solution. Around 3rd century BC, they started using volcanic ash from the Naples region, what the locals called pozzolana. It turns out, if you mix pozzolana with hydrated lime, you get an ultra-strong binding agent, cement.
And to show you why this was such a breakthrough, archaeologist Colin Richards is first going to help me test cement beams made from regular sand.
I'm going to do that by stacking them with bricks until one of them goes. They feel fine so far. I expect they'll just go all at once.
That's right, yeah. There'll be no warning once they go.
Whoa! Look at that. And it didn't shear clean, it just crumbled right through.
Now it's time to make the Roman version of cement.
We've got this volcanic ash, which is the secret ingredient. You've got all these little fissures. It's like a honeycomb in there. Yeah. And that's a sort of key component which gives the concrete its strength.
Once we've mixed the ash with brick dust and lime, we add water. Then pound it into a mold. Now, this stuff takes nearly a month to set properly.
So in true television fashion, here's one we made earlier. We're gonna see how it copes under pressure. How many bricks do you think this will take?
I think it'll take about 4 or 5 rows.
Really?
These beams feel a lot stronger than the lime and sand one. There's some kind of weight going on here now.
Yeah, that is a lot. You know, Colin, we're out of bricks. So that's 6 times as much weight as we used on the original formula. It definitely proves the point that the Roman formula was far superior. I mean, that's incredible.
Thanks to their cement, the Romans took architecture to a whole new level.
Here in Rome, they begin to build upwards as the city expands. Roman architects build imposing arches, vaulted ceilings, and enormous domes. They also start making magnificent multi-story buildings, like the Colosseum.
It was cement that laid the foundations for Rome to become the eternal city.
But as well as its strength, Roman cement had another special characteristic, one that let Rome solve a problem as old as the hills that it stands on. How to provide fresh drinking water to its citizens.
Back then, the source of much of Rome's drinking water is the River Tiber. But with her population on the rise and increasing amounts of raw sewage flowing into the river, so Rome's water becomes more and more unhealthy. A carrier of diseases like cholera, typhus, and dysentery. But Roman cement was about to come to the rescue. Hidden beneath the city streets is an ancient tunnel that dates from Roman times.
It's like going into the bowels of the earth. This is amazing. Wow. Look at this. It's like something out of a movie set.
But this is no drain or sewer. It's an aqueduct, carrying fresh water from a spring over 12 miles away. Carved from the porous rock that lies beneath Rome, this underground aqueduct is a fantastic example of Roman engineering.
So what did they do to treat the tunnels so that the water didn't just pour out into the earth?
They were using a particular mixture of cement made with piece of clay and some volcanic ash. And they were putting it together and making this very smooth cement that was waterproof. And they were able to make repairs even underwater.
So if you had a crack right here, you could take this cement with the water and seal it up under the water.
Exactly.
Oh, that's fantastic.
The Romans' waterproof cement allowed them to build aqueducts not just underground, but also along the top of elegant arches that spanned the countryside.
Thanks to its system of aqueducts, Rome and its citizens were able to enjoy running water, flushing toilets, public baths, and ornamental fountains. At the same time, the occurrence of disease drops through the floor, and water shortages become a distant memory.
But aqueducts aren't just ancient artifacts. Even today, the city of Los Angeles depends on water carried along pipes and channels from the Sierra Mountains, over 230 miles away. A system that allowed LA to grow from a small town in the desert into a sprawling metropolis. Aqueducts made it possible for cities to grow bigger and bigger. But having thousands of people living cheek by jowl brought with it another life-threatening problem.
Uscita la prima partenza, deve uscire la 7A per fuga di gas, 7A per fuga di gas.
Back in ancient Rome, barely a night went by without a serious blaze somewhere in the city. Once underway, these fires would spread rapidly through the city's high-rise apartments, presenting one ruthless entrepreneur with a lucrative business opportunity. Marcus Licinius Crassus is the wealthiest man in Rome. A cunning property baron, he buys burning buildings from their desperate owners, completing the transaction just in time to allow his very own private fire brigade, a band of trained slaves, to extinguish the flames. But firefighting was about to go professional.
In 6 AD, Emperor Augustus appoints Rome's first official fire brigade. Now, unlike their modern counterparts, ancient Roman firemen didn't have fire engines or high-pressure cutters, but they did have an excellent water supply thanks to all the aqueducts. So the question became how to get that water to the fire.
One method was the old-fashioned bucket brigade.
This is spectacularly inefficient. I think we're putting more water on the yard than we actually are on the fire. What was needed was a better way to get water to the fire, which is where this piece of technology comes in.
The double-action hand pump. And I've been given special permission to demonstrate this antique museum piece.
This one's from 1906, but it uses exactly the same principles as the siphos, or pumps, that they used in ancient Rome. Now, the way that it works is that you've got these two pistons, and each time it goes up, it sucks water into it. And each time it goes down, it pushes it out again. So between the two of them, you get a steady flow of water.
The double-action hand pump could project water over far greater distances than buckets. And like their modern-day counterparts, the ancient Roman fire brigade connected their pumps to the water source closest to the fire.